not only for Chevrolet, but also for your championship points as well?
Yeah, I mean, the way things have been going, you've got to win the race to get any points. So reminds me of last year's chase in some respects. But just a great performance by the entire 48 team all weekend long. To win the pole, lead the most laps, win the race, it's a big deal. So, just excited and really wish that we were in Phoenix right now getting ready to start the next race. So things are rolling. We're enjoying it. And the significance of 700 wins for Chevrolet is huge for Hendrick Motorsports. It's also big for myself. The only thing I've ever raced throughout my career has been a Chevy. And they gave me my first opportunity back when I was 15 years old and put me in an off-road stadium truck to help develop the new truck that was coming along. And I've been there ever since. So very cool to hit those landmark numbers for Chevy. And, just very proud of the effort tonight.
We're also joined by winning crew chief Chad Knaus. If you could, Chad, talk again about that 700th victory for Chevy and what it means to you and the organization.
I think it's a pretty big deal, obviously, that we have a long affiliation with Chevrolet, and we've won a lot of races with those guys, and being able to clinch the Manufacturers Championship last week in Martinsville, and then to be able to come back this weekend and get 700th victory, I think is cool. Hendrick Motorsports is extremely dedicated to the product of Chevrolet, and to be able to do that is an honor.
We'll go ahead and open up for questions. If you could please raise your hand. We got one in the back, Marty.
Nice beard.
Fantastic beard. Thank you, Chad. Jimmie, those last few restarts were very physical. Brad and you both leaned on each other a lot. How would you describe what was going on there over the last 2 or 3 restarts?
Yeah, it definitely was. And you're going to have that to a certain degree. I mean, on these big tracks, I was a little shocked by the commitment into turn 1. And I've joked before about driving in far enough to where I see Elvis, and we went past Elvis, and I don't know who was coming next, but the 2 car was coming up the track and took us both to the 4th and 5th lanes. So fortunately, we both stayed 1-2 and didn't crash, didn't lose a spot on the racetrack. But I knew he was serious about the race lead prior to that, and that took it to a new level. And that last restart, I was able to rally around on the outside and finish the pass. I came so close to finishing the pass, the restart prior, but I didn't get it done. And I made sure I got everything right on that last one and got by him.
Mark Garrow, PRN. Jimmie, just sort of following up on that, you're a guy that's known for being kind of calm, cool, collected kind of thing. What was your emotional state after that next to last restart? You pulled up beside him at the end of the backstretch there. Just where were you at that point?
Yeah, I was, I just pointed at him and just wanted him to use his head. There's no sense in taking us both out in the process. I mean, if he was taking me out, you can count on the fact that I would have been in the gas and trying to take him with me. So, and it just doesn't need to come down to that. So, Brad also, after the race came into victory lane and shook my hand. So the cool thing about it is, we walked right up to that line, we got right to the edge, and then it stopped. And, he showed a very class move coming to victory lane and shaking my hand afterwards too.
Nate
Ryan, USA Today. Jimmie, Brad feels like he still controls his destiny, he says, even though he's 7 points back. But I know you've been pretty adamant that the points leader is in control. How in control do you feel right now with 2 races to go, and especially going to Phoenix, the track where you've done so well?
It's a small amount of control, but we're definitely in control. We don't have to catch any point, make up any points. 7 points is nothing to feel comfortable about and to relax on. So, we're still going to go into Phoenix and act as if we're behind and go in there to try to sit on the pole and win the race again.
Question in the back. Or Bob. Go to Bob.
Bob Parker, Sport News. What were you angry about on the next to last restart with Brad? Did you think he went too early? And, is that just kind of the way restarts are these days?
Yeah, it seemed real early to me. I mean, it caught the 18 off guard and myself. And I need to look at the video before I put my foot in my mouth or something here, but it seemed early. And we have this gray area exiting onto the racetrack off of turn 2 when you leave the pits. Last week, 2 weeks ago, we had a hard reference point. This week, we don't. It's just in the area of. And we all know at Chicago, the situation that was there. And on the front stretch for the restart, there are 2 lines that are there for a reason. I felt like he went real early and caught us both off guard.
I believe we have some questions in the press box.
Yes, Jerry Fraley from the Dallas Morning News for Jimmie. Jimmie, right after the race, you said the gloves are off. It's a bare knuckle fight. I know those are figures of speech, but is this the hardest you've been pressed coming down the stretch in a title run in your career? Or the most competition you faced, maybe the better way to put it?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. With Jeff in 06, no, it was like 07, 08, somewhere in there. I think we finished with a 4.8 average to win the chase and had to win, I think, 4 races in the chase, and Jeff was at a 5.0 and finished second to us. So it's in line with that year. I can't remember vividly what went on that year, but it reminds me a lot of that year.
It's Terry Bliner, ESPN.com. Jimmie, on the last restart, did you think Brad spun his tires? It looked like you beat him to the line right there on the last restart. Did he spin his tires, or what happened there?
Yeah, he spun him pretty bad. I was pedaling, trying to let him catch up as we got to the start-finish, and then he kind of surged past as right at it or just past it. And NASCAR's been aware of that in the past and allows you, if you give that nose back, you're in good shape.
Are there any questions for Chad?
Yes, up in the press box, so you can't see me. I see you, Jimmie. Louis Frank from Reuters and Speed Week. Chad, are you a little surprised that the 2-tire strategy of Paul Wolfe, seemed to work twice?
Nothing surprises me anymore, to be quite honest with you, but I felt as though that was a gutsy call for sure. It worked midway through the race because everybody was kind of just finding their way and getting to the end. And quite honestly, I don't feel like that if the caution hadn't come out, it wouldn't have really panned out for them as well as what they had hoped. I feel like we were catching them pretty quickly before that second-to-last caution came out, and would have scooted by them pretty quickly. But I do think that they would have probably ended up solidly, second or third, even with that call. So that was a solid call on their part. But we've been racing pretty conservatively here the last couple of weeks, and been able to get the laps led, and fortunately enough, been able to get the victories. So they'll have to continue to be aggressive to swing by us, I think.
Monty Dutton guessing is it. Jimmie, at the end of the race, you had the tire advantage. Is there any way Keselowski could have stuck with you, being any less stubborn and ornery than he was?
Well, I think, as Chad pointed out, I kind of forgot about it, but the restart where we put tires on and they took their 2, we took our 4, and I was coming fast. Got by the 18 and made up a couple seconds on them and was there. So I feel like our car and certainly the advantage of being on 4 was the thing. But we improved our car because previously I couldn't get by the 18 and I rolled right on by them and was heading after that 2 car. So I think we were in the offensive situation there at the end, and they were had to protect because of the 2 tires those last 3 restarts.
Go ahead.
Mark Garrigan for Chad. Chad, is the process of getting through each week and preparing the cars now the same as it has been throughout the other title runs, or are things in some way different or improved upon, so to speak?
I think that's the goal, or I shouldn't say the goal. I think that's a good thing for the 48, is everybody thinks that once you get to the chase, you got to ramp everything up. Well, being a part of the 48 car, you're expected to win every single week. So we really can't prepare any differently. I think going to the racetrack each week, whether it be Martinsville or Richmond or Atlanta, wherever it may be, we put as much effort into the race cars as we can week in and week out. Once we get into the chase, we really can't do anymore. So we're really operating in our comfort zone. where I think what happens to a lot of the other teams, it takes them out of their comfort zone. They try to do more. They try to push that little bit further. They do things that are outside the norm, and I think that's usually when people get in trouble.
Are you impressed with how Paul Wolf and Brad, for their first run at the championship, have stayed this competitive at every level, physically and emotionally, and the actual preparation of the cars?
Oh yeah, they've done a good job. But I mean, you have to realize that's Penske Racing. It's not like that's some slouch team. I mean, those guys have been building good cars for a long time. You look, Kurt Busch went very, very fast in that race car. There's been a lot of great drivers in that race car, and they've always run competitively. So I think that team is more than prepared to go do it. I think Paul's a great crew chief, and I think Brad's a really good driver. So I think that they'll be there through the end, and they're going to be here for years to come, and that's good. That's a good thing. We need that.
Any other? Can we get a mic to Nate?
For Jimmie, it's not the first time that Brad has kind of irked you a little bit during the chase through Chicagoland. I know going back to Michigan, it seems like the two kind of likes to play games with you guys. Do you expect that gamesmanship to sort of continue over the next couple of races, and how do you deal with it?
I'm not familiar with Michigan. Chicago was just a thing of pulling up on the track early, and I said then and there that it didn't change the outcome of the race. So it's not those are more, I don't know what the word is. They're just the flow of the race and different little things that go on. But the way we raced this afternoon or this evening was it's a different thing. That's the first time that we've really engaged at that level and raced each other that hard. So and to his credit, he did a nice job of getting right to the edge, and we brought home race cars. We weren't wadded up and looked like a bunch of fools over there and handing the 5 and the 15 a big gift. So, that's a good thing. Yeah, I don't expect it to be easy to pass any chaser. I mean, it's been that way all chase long. When drop the flag at Chicago and then even Loudon, the guys that aren't in the championship battle seem to be a little bit more respectful, and they'll race to a certain point. But when you're around a guy that you're trying to beat in the points, it's gloves off and a whole different deal.
Question in the back.
Janine Cloud, Skirts and Scuffs. You were in here the other day talking about not being superstitious, even after you had been sitting in the car after qualifying. And I heard a story about a lucky charm that was from shooting the gun. Could you expound on that a little bit, and are you going to take that to Phoenix with you?
Yeah, when I shot the gun in qualifying, after qualifying, I put the shells in my little glove box thing that I have. And again, I'm not superstitious, but I'm just covering that base in case it does weigh into things. So I'm not, but we're going to cover every base. And I've set my alarm to 6:48. I get up every morning at 6:48, if not earlier. Microwave, I'll put it 48 seconds instead of a minute. But no, not superstitious at all. I don't know. Again, I don't. Phoenix is Phoenix. I don't think they'll stay in the car. We're probably not taking the same car, so they won't go to Phoenix. Now you have me thinking about it. I might have to cover that base and take them to Phoenix. No, God, what would make you think that? No clue.
Any additional questions? Gentlemen, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.